In My Brother's Keeper by Patricia McCormick, the story is about a family that falls apart due to their father leaving them. Um, the the two boys, Jake and Toby, have to have ACEs and toxic stress. ACEs is an adverse childhood experience which causes toxic stress. Toxic stress is a disorder that interrupts the brain development in children. Toby and Jake are clearly dealing with toxic stress and ACEs. They are coping with the situation differently, but there are many other positive ways in fixing this situation. I know that Toby and Jake are greatly influenced by their father leaving, as you can see in the text on page 33 when the book states that until finally one day about a year ago, he left for California. As you can see, this was an ACE for Jake and Toby, and ACE stands for Adverse Childhood Experience. I know this is considered an ACE because in Mr. Hellison's class we took the ACE test and there was a question asking if a parent has ever abandoned you. Toby and Jake displayed toxic stress after their dad leaving them. Jake handles this event by doing drugs. He sticks out, as you can see in the text, it says, he sticks out his tongue where the little blue pill is dissolving acid. As you can see, Jake is using drugs to relieve the toxic stress due to their dad leaving them. Toby is coping with the situation differently. He keeps everything to himself that's going on at home. In page 149, he doesn't want to tell Mr. D about the Stargale card when he states, I don't tell him I'm done collecting cards. I don't tell him there's no point. As you can see, Toby isn't opening up all the way to Mr. D. This is an ACE, I know. This is an ACE because in the stress response it says if you avoid a negative signal or only focus on decreasing the intensity, it leads to dependency or negative stress responses. Toby and Jake could cope with their situation differently in many ways. Jake is coping with the situation by doing drugs, and Toby is keeping everything to himself and staying in denial. In page 137, it states that then the only angry-looking officer says she needs to come down to the police station, and that the juvenile court judge usually has them detox at Mount Tom for a couple of days before he convinces the case. As you can see, Jake and Toby, instead of avoiding the problem or situation which doesn't give resiliency, they could have considered positive signals like counseling, which builds resilience. I learned this in Mr. Hellison's class on the stress response graph. Toby and Jake's dad abandoning them is clearly an ACE that they had to deal with. Jake and Toby cope with their situation differently, but both of them should have dealt with their situation in a more positive way. I connect with this story because when my dad got arrested 8 years ago, I had to go through counseling so I could get over the situation.